Yo, how you doing, Dan-Dans? Welcome to Mortal Kombat Monday. Today I'm ranking every single Mortal Kombat game ever made from worst to best. Have I ranked the games before? Yes, 5 years ago. What's the point of doing it again? Well, we have new games on the list. 2023's Mortal Kombat 1 wasn't out at the time that I made that last video, and back then, I simply didn't include certain titles. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and others were left off the docket, as I wanted to focus on the initial releases of the time. Some of you complained back then, and hey, maybe you've got a point, so those omitted titles will be on the list here today. I must note, however, that Mortal Kombat Gold on the Dreamcast, MK Onslaught on mobile devices, and MK Advance on the Game Boy Advance will still not be present as I've never played them. I can't rank something I've never experienced, you know? And one last clarification, Mortal Kombat X and XL will be considered the same thing, just as MK11 and MK11 Ultimate will also be considered the same thing. They added fighters to the roster and maybe a story expansion, that's fine. They didn't change the mechanics of the game, the way 3 to Ultimate 3 did. Do you understand? Do you get it? I hope so. With all of those bases covered, we have 17 video games waiting in the wings, ready to be placed on the official 616 Entertainment Rankings board. I'm excited to get to work here today because I don't remember what my rankings looked like in that last video, nor have I gone back to compare and contrast with today's lineup. This will be fun to see how my tastes and opinions have changed, you know? And yes, I'll be ranking these based on how much I like to play them. We're not talking about indisputable quality or legacy or anything like that. This list comes down to my personal enjoyment. Are you ready to go? Then let's get to it. Side note, Mortal Kombat Unchained also doesn't count. It's just a handheld port of Deception. It's the same game. Delete your comment. Every video here on 616 Entertainment is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoyed the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos and podcasts, and more. Pro Wrestling Tees has the merch. As always, thank you for watching. Kicking us off on the very bottom of the list, the bottom of the barrel for that matter, is 1999's Mortal Kombat Special Forces. This game sucks. It sucks! Not only is it the worst Mortal Kombat game ever made, it's widely considered to be one of the worst video games ever made, full stop. With unresponsive controls, garbage boss fights that consist of holding down a single button, awful design that will constantly have you backtracking, and many, many more issues, I can't even begin to explain the depths to which this trash sinks on today's video. I hate this game, and if you've ever played it, so do you. A no-brainer down here at the bottom. Hopefully, the predictability ends here. Number 16 is Mortal Kombat Mythology's Sub-Zero. Another spin-off, another very poorly designed attempt at breaking the franchise away from one-on-one fighting. A very cool idea, an exciting premise, executed worse than you could ever imagine. Having to press a button to turn around? Are you kidding me? Look, last month I released a video comparing Mythologies and Special Forces in depth, in every category. Check that out after this for all of the disgusting details. Terrible games, just terrible, awful games. Breaking into the top 15, and we are already past the point of garbage. From this point on, I don't think any of these games are bad, including Mortal Kombat 3. I'm just personally not a huge fan. I'm not now, nor have I ever been. It doesn't help that I've never been particularly good at MK3, but the roster is sorely lacking. No Scorpion? This is a Mortal Kombat game without Scorpion? No Sub-Zero? Obviously we know this is Sub-Zero, but when you were a kid and you first played Mortal Kombat 3, you were like, where the hell are Scorpion and Sub-Zero? The stages are cool, I like the soundtrack, Motaro is the man, but I've never really clicked with 3 the way I did with the other 2D entries. It is what it is. Here in the number 14 slot is Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and this might be a controversial pick. Trilogy wasn't on the 2019 list. Here it is this time. If you're not happy with the ranking, you don't have to be. This is a video of my opinions, not yours. Let me be clear though, I don't think Trilogy is a terrible game at all. The huge roster is super cool. Playing as the boss characters from the jump, are you insane? From a distance, it looks like MK Trilogy would be every fan's dream. And then you try to play it and are instantly punched in the face with the main problem, the input reading of the AI opponents. I have never, ever seen input reading like this. You can't move a muscle without the AI immediately reacting to whatever it is you're doing. I've been playing Mortal Kombat from damn near day one, and I find Trilogy almost unplayable. Okay, unplayable might be a bit much, but it's certainly not nearly as fun as it should be. It's too goddamn difficult, and that lone fact spoils what would otherwise be a gathering of all-stars. Unlucky 13, looky here at Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. It's funny, I'm surprised to see it down here. This is my own list and I'm looking at it going, really? There are 12 Mortal Kombat games I like more than Deadly Alliance? It's weird. I'm a big fan of Deadly Alliance, a bigger fan than most, judging by my comment sections. The newly introduced characters like Kenshi and Draman were really interesting and original. Unlocking new items in the crypt was addictive, but the fatalities are mostly trash. No stage fatalities sucked. Conquest mode sounded cool, and then it was just a bunch of annoying tutorials. Good game, but not quite near the top. The best part was seeing Liu Kang die for the first time, let's be honest. Nobody could believe it. Next up is the sequel to Deadly Alliance, that being Mortal Kombat Deception. I recently played through Conquest mode across Season 4 of Mortal Kombat Monday, and I will release the full movie version of that playthrough very soon. And I learned that it doesn't hold up as well as I remembered. It's still cool in theory, but the constant lessons and the fact that we can't even play as the main character, Shujinko, it kind of sucks in certain ways. Onago was awesome, that's for sure. The roster was bigger and better. I loved getting Noob Saibot back into the fold. And seeing classic stages and their fatalities adapted into the third dimension was great. Many of the features that felt like they were missing from Deadly Alliance were present here in Deception. And I like that. I think it makes it a better game in hindsight. And shout out to Chess Combat and Puzzle Combat. Mini games like this are a blast, aren't they? At number 11, it's number 10. Is that confusing? I'm talking about the 10th mainline installment, Mortal Kombat X. The story mode is cool as hell. Seeing many of our favorite heroes turned into ghastly revenants was something else. And the guest characters were sick. Alien, Predator, Jason Voorhees, Leatherface. Come on, this is excellent. We're also finally redeeming Tremor, the brown palette swap ninja that first appeared in Special Forces. That is justice. The major negative for me on MKX are the fighting styles. Each character having 3 distinct versions of themselves with altered costumes and movesets. I always found this super overwhelming. Honestly, I've probably experimented with fewer than 15 different variations. I just didn't have any interest in learning Sub-Zero, and then learning the other Sub-Zero, and then learning the third Sub-Zero. No thanks. Really good game, but not quite top 10. Who said top 10? Well, perfect timing. Mortal Kombat 1, the newest entry in the series, cracks the top 10. Honestly, this would have been much higher if it weren't for the garbage customization and paid DLC. I haven't personally booted up MK1 since November of 2023. I saw they recently dropped some classic ninja costumes and I can't even be bothered to check them out because I guarantee they cost money, and I'm not paying for them. Not a chance in hell. Invasions mode was fun the first time I played it, but do I want to keep doing that over and over? No, I don't. I didn't like the story mode. I wanted timelines left behind, and surprise, they were the main focus, more so now than ever. Not a fan of the cameo system at all. I never wanted nor needed this in a Mortal Kombat game. But the saving graces, for me, are the roster and the gameplay. I enjoy both. I love Baraka and Reptile being a big deal and having babyface spotlight roles in the story. It's fun experimenting with different brutalities and powered up special moves. It's a damaged entry into the franchise, unfortunately, but it is certainly not the worst. Number 9. Number 9. Number 9. Is that reference too dated? Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Loved it. Third-person action-adventure conquest mode? Cool as hell. Massive roster consisting of damn near every single fighter in franchise history up to this point? Yes, sir. That's including the bosses as well. Even Onaga. Motor combat was ridiculous. Creative fighter is a feature we'd been asking for since the dawn of time, and this is the only game it has ever been featured in. The fatality system being completely ruined and replaced with creative fatality definitely knocks a few points off, there's no doubt about that. And what the fuck did they do to Motaro? They wanted to point to this roster and say everyone is here, but they didn't want to take the time to program Motaro as a centaur, so fuck it. Blaze is kinda cool. I like Armageddon more than most others do. I get it, but that's okay. Speaking of liking games more than most others do, I slot Mortal Kombat 4 at number 8. I love this game, man. I appreciate that I can beat MK4 with any character without too much trouble on the normal difficulty. A good portion of my feelings are indeed nostalgia fueled, I understand that, and I'm totally okay with it. Getting Mortal Kombat 4 for Christmas with my PlayStation is a formative memory. The stages are great. The gigantic blood drops and fatalities are extremely campy, and I'm all about it. I did sorely miss the pit here, to be honest, but what can you do? I'll pop Mortal Kombat 4 in any day, and that's more than I can say for some of the games that have already been on this list. I think this will probably be considered the biggest sin on the list when it comes to the comments. At number 7, I'm going with Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe, the 2008 crossover title that pitted DC Comics icons like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman against MK legends like Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Sonya Blade. I'm a massive Mortal Kombat mark, and I'm a huge fan of DC Comics as well. So this is honestly the best crossover Mortal Kombat could have ever done, for my money. It's still crazy that this even exists, right? It's crazy that I wrote a retrospective published in a legitimate book about this game too. Shout out to Sandeep Rai. Freefall combat and close combat were cool and haven't been done since. This was the first story mode of its kind, not only for Mortal Kombat, but for fighting games in general. I think almost everyone in this game has a brilliant design. The fatalities are obviously and unfortunately neutered due to the T rating, and that's where most of the complaining about this game comes from. But Mortal Kombat is about more than violence. Man, I know the comments are gonna go wild about this pick. Number 6 is Mortal Kombat 11. God damn, I love MK11. I think across the entire franchise, this is where the customization probably reached its peak. It's not perfect. There are like 100 costumes per character and 70 of them are nearly identical, but I still think it's the best we've had up to this point. The stages and stage fatalities are memorable. The gameplay is tight. Many of the costumes are as good as it gets. The story mode was fantastic. That includes the Aftermath expansion. With guest characters like Spawn, Rambo, the Terminator, and Joker, you can't go wrong. The original live-action stars making their first ever video game appearances is nearly unmatched in its awesomeness. I wish Bridget Wilson starred in every video game ever made. MK11 removed the 3 variations from MKX and instead offered customizable variation slots. In the event that you loved that feature, you can create variations of your own. I think that's a nice compromise. The Crypt received a huge facelift, switching from a row of coffins to a sprawling, open environment, allowing us to explore the pit, Goro's lair, the warrior shrine, and more. Mortal Kombat 11? Great game. It's time for the top 5, and it's time for Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. This might be the biggest difference from the first time I made this video, back in 2019. Ultimate MK3 wasn't even on the list, first of all, but since then, I've gained a greater appreciation for this game than I've ever had before. I learned that my disinterest in Mortal Kombat 3 and my inability to play Trilogy with any sort of competence, those issues aren't found here in Ultimate 3. The lackluster roster of the original version of MK3 has greatly improved. Being able to launch into a combo from a jumping punch adds a whole new layer of strategy. Is Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 easy? Hell no, it isn't easy. But getting to Shao Kahn and kicking his ass on the Pit 3 stage, man, talk about rewarding. My love for Ultimate MK3 has come late in life, but hey, better late than never. Mortal Kombat 9 takes the number 4 position. This game is incredible. With a story mode that retells the entirety of the original trilogy and a roster comprised of the all-stars of that era, holy shit. What can be said about MK9 that hasn't been stated already? The callbacks for the longtime fans have yet to be outdone, and that's not for a lack of trying. There's a good chance that these are the greatest fatalities of all time as well. Not too long, not too short, and as brutal as can be. The showdown between Kuai Liang and Bi-Han finally taking place as Cyber Sub-Zero versus Noob Saibot was so insane I couldn't even believe it. The final fight against Shao Kahn made me want to blow my ass off, but again, once you take him down, you're on top of the world. Mortal Kombat 9 is one of my favorite games ever made, and damn, I guess you can say that for the remaining 3 games on this list as well. And speak of the devil, the remaining 3, we are here at number 3, 1992's original Mortal Kombat. For me, is iconic. The Pit, the Spine Rip, Toasty, Goro, Shang Tsung morphing into other combatants. Please, get over here? Are you out of your mind? Now, is this gameplay better than MK9? No! Are the graphics as impressive? Obviously not. But I've always loved this original entry, and the older I get, the stronger my love for this game grows. It's hard to explain, man. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder, but here, I think my constant exposure makes the heart grow fonder as well. I've never in my life been tired of the original Mortal Kombat, and I'm toying with the idea of celebrating the 150th episode of Mortal Kombat Monday by beating this original game with every member of the roster in one sitting. It would take hours, it'd be a marathon, but damn it, I think it'd be special. Oh, goddamn, I love this game. The runner-up here, the number 2 position, goes to the first sequel, 1993's Mortal Kombat 2. Better fatalities, more fighters, darker stages, scarier music, a brand new boss with a brand new 4-armed bodyguard. If you frequent this channel, you're tired of me using this line, but this is what a sequel is supposed to be. Bigger and better than the original in every way. Mortal Kombat 2 is much more difficult than the original, so earning your way past Shao Kahn is not something just anybody can do. The AI is ruthless, and you've got no choice but to master a few tricks if you want to stand a chance against them in the later battles. But once you fluently speak the language of MK2, you can take care of business. I just recently ranked all of the fatalities in this game from worst to best, and I didn't censor any of the violence. I wanted to give you guys the best video possible, and YouTube made me pay for that, demonetizing it and age restricting it just an hour after it went live, assuring that video's quick and brutal death. That's why patreon.com/616entertainment exists. I can't depend on YouTube to not screw me over. God forbid I deliver you guys a video worth a damn. What I can depend on, though, is for Mortal Kombat 2 to always be there. What a legendary game this is, Dan-Dans. At number 1, my absolute favorite game in the series, look no further than Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. I love action RPGs. I love Mortal Kombat, specifically Mortal Kombat 2. Take all of these things and throw them into a blender. That's MK Shaolin Monks. The game dropped in 2005, and after stinkers like Mythologies and Special Forces, I don't think many players expected this third spin-off to be any good. And man, oh man, were they wrong. We hadn't before, and we haven't since been given this much freedom to explore the world of Mortal Kombat 2. Every single stage from that 1993 title is present here in full 3D, overflowing with secrets and interactive hotspots. Back in 2021, I played through the entire game with Liu Kang here on the channel, and I gotta be honest, I'm itching to do it again with another character. This is another game that I will never, ever get tired of, and the fact that we've never gotten a sequel, a remaster, or even a re-release is painful. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, my favorite of all time, no question. Thank you for watching today's video ranking the Mortal Kombat games. I'm sure some of you want to burn me alive, maybe others agree with my picks. Let me know down in the comments. Feel free to leave your own rankings. Patreon.com/616entertainment is where you can go to support the channel. At the time of record, we are only 11 new signups away from unlocking the history of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Will you be one of the final 11 to make this happen? Maybe time will tell. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.